How diddly do everyone in YouTube land? It's your boy Tickle the Beagle back again with another Magic the Gathering video. And today, I want to start up a new series. Tribal time seems to be something that people are less and less interested in, but apparently, according to this poll I put up, people do want it to return, so I will be making that return. Don't worry. However, in the meantime, I want to try and put up a new series to make more people come into this channel. Because I would like it to actually be a successful YouTube channel one day and not more regurgitated YouTube shorts that I make when I'm tired at night. So I decided to try out this new series called PCW, Playing Commanders Wrong. The whole gimmick behind this series, of course, as I've stated, is building the commander wrong. How are we building it wrong? Well, we're going to take whatever the card says and say, no. We're going to be trying to build around the commander itself, while also not building around the commander, if that makes any sense. So basically, using the commander's abilities to help us without directly building around it. Like, let's say it's a tribal deck that helps out rats. We won't build rats. We'll build it as a deck that searches out artifacts that gets us Maskwood Nexus, which turns every card in our deck into rats. So therefore, everything gets supported by it. You get the idea? It's stupid, it's dumb, and it's also really goddamn funny. But let's get right into it, shall we? Sauron the Lidless Eye. Ooh, recent. 3, a black and a red. When Lidless Eye enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature it opponent controls until end of turn. Untap it, it gains haste until end of turn. Creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. Each opponent loses 2 life. Obviously what this is supposed to be built around is the 1 red and black creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. Each opponent loses 2 life. So the idea is to go wide. We're not doing that. From what I can tell on this card, the idea is steal an opponent's creature that's good, and then go wide with a bunch of smaller creatures that get buffed, everybody loses 2 life, and then you hit. We're not doing that. Because you see, the thing about this card is it costs 1, a black, and a red. Therefore, since it doesn't tap, if we make infinite mana, infinite red and black mana, then we win the game. Of course, the only problem is figuring out how normally infinite mana is fine. Like, it's not hard to make, because you only need to make 1 color. We need to make 2 colors of infinite mana. Now, I'm going to first of all look at ways we can make infinite mana in red and black individually. I don't really know many ways to make infinite red mana, besides, like, goblins, exactly. So maybe we're doing that. I don't know. Alright, sorry for the removal of the face cam, but I just didn't want to get in the way of the visuals I just spent about 2 days working on. I did not sleep. But let's get into our commander. Of course, I decided to go with the way of gain infinite mana and make each opponent lose 2 life. Going wide just seems like the way everyone seems to play this commander, including, I've seen, like, very few builds focus on repeatedly ETBing him. But to me, that just seemed unfeasible, even for a gimmick deck. So, let's focus on the drain. So first of all, infinite mana combos. I had to figure out what infinite mana combos I could find that give me red and black, which is what I need. First one I found that could give me red mana was Mana Geyser plus Reiterate. Let's see how it works. First of all, opponent has to have tapped lands. Ignore the fact that some of the cards are tapped the wrong way. I completely missed that. God damn it. Alright, so you cast Mana Geyser, right? 3, 4, 5 mana. You add a red for each tap land your opponent controls. You then cast Reiterate. Costs 1 and 3 red, or 1 and 2 red, copy target instance or sorcery spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. You then immediately buy back 3, which allows you to pay the buyback cost and put it back into your hand as it resolves. If this is an instant, play it again. Buy back, play it again. Buy back, play it again. You will then just generate infinite mana off that. Also, as you saw, there are problems with this. Hard to set up, mainly because you need your opponent to do things. You need them to have tapped lands, so that's really annoying to do. Also, it only gets us red, which sucks because we need red and black. Which also really sucks because, specifically, you see a problem with these 2 cards? We're playing a double color deck where we need to make 2 sources of infinite mana, 2 colors of infinite mana, and this requires 2 red mana symbols on each of their card cost. That is very bad. Very, very bad, as a matter of fact. We will not be playing this combo. And if you don't get it, in a double color deck, you're normally playing a lot of ways to play, I can't speak, to make 1 or the other mana, right? However, in a double color deck, or a 3 color, 4 color, or 5 color deck, you often need the mana symbols to only be one each on a card, unless it's really powerful, because it's just really inconvenient sometimes. We do have exactly 4 sources of red mana, and usually we'll have like maybe 3, and most of it will be ways to gain red mana through like tap this, add a mana of any color or whatever, but still, it's annoying. This next combo though, I think we will be using Rings of Bright Hearth, Treasure Vault, and Basalt Monolith. 3 artifacts, 1's a land. Let's get into what you do. Have all 3 on the field, okay? First of all, you use Basalt Monolith to tap for 3. You then do a little bit of math with Rings of Bright Hearth. Whenever you activate an ability, if it isn't a mana ability, you may pay 2 color of any color, and if you do, copy that ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. So we have 3. We minus 2 to get 3 more. That leaves us 1 plus 3 equals 4. We then could use Basalt Monolith to untap for 3, giving us 1 left. We then tap it again to gain 3, and we redo the combo over and over again to gain about that much colorless mana. We then use Treasure Vault. X, tap it, sacrifice it, create X treasure tokens. Now the reason we want to create about that many treasure tokens is because they all have the ability of sacrifice a card, add a mana of any one color to your mana pool. So we get infinite treasures, sacrifice half of infinite, which is still technically infinite because it's infinity. Sacrifice half of infinite for infinite red, the other half of infinite for infinite black, and bobbity boo. There are problems though. It requires non-basic land searching, which is really hard to do outside of white or green. It's really hard to do outside of white or green. Those are the best colors for non-basic land searching, and even in white it's iffy. Green is mainly what you want to be doing. It's also artifacts. Artifacts are the second easiest to remove thing in the entire game. Creatures being the first easiest, but artifact removal is pretty much exactly this in the exact same amount. It's run in all sorts of commander decks at the same amount as creature removal, sometimes on the same card, so it's really annoying. But let's move on to the next combo, which we'll also probably be including, which is Voltaic Construct, Karn Silver Golem, and Gilded Lotus. Let's get into it. First of all, have all 3 on the battlefield, of course. We then go ahead and tap Gilded Lotus to add 3 mana of any one color. In this case, let's say it's red. We then can use Karn Silver Golem to pay 1 of any mana. Target non-creature artifact becomes an artifact creature with power and toughness, each equal to its converted mana cost. So we make Gilded Lotus a 5/5. Now, since it's an artifact creature, we can then use Voltaic Construct to use that last 2 to untap it. So now we can untap target artifact creature. We then use this effect to tap it. We use Gilded Lotus' effect to tap for 3 mana. Let's say it's red again. We then use Voltaic Construct to use up 2 of that mana. We're then left with 1 red. We then tap it for black. We're left with 1 black. Repeat over and over again till infinite mana is achieved. There is a problem with this, of course, and that is their artifacts, which I've already mentioned the problem with that, artifact removal. But they're also mana expensive. I mean, if we go to them here, you just look at them. 5, 4, and 5. The previous combo, if we go all the way back to that, specifically had a land which costs nothing, and 3 and 3, whilst this has a 5, 4, and a 5. This is insanely expensive to get off. But also, they're creatures, meaning they're not only destructible by artifact removal, but also by creature removal, meaning the 2 most prevalent forms of removal in this game just fuck them in the ass. Well, what do we use out of these? We use the last 2, of course, the second and third combos. Now, of course, like I said, they may be artifacts, but they're the easiest combos to get off, and at least from what I can tell, they're the only way to get infinite mana of 2 different colors. I've seen ways to get infinite 5-color mana, but of 2 different colors in red and black, there are very few ways to get it. If there are other ways, please mention them in the comments. These are the only ones I could find, though. So what do we need? Tutors. Tutors, if you don't know, are cards that get you anything from your deck, and black has a fucking abundance of these, so this is perfect. Also, colorless has a bunch of artifact-specific tutors, allowing us to get from our deck any artifact we want, and also, as we'll point out in a bit, red has 1 tutor that is the best tutor in the game, so yeah, we'll definitely be taking that. Specific artifact searchers, like I said, as our combos are specifically artifacts, so they basically become tutors. Speaking of which, let's go over our tutor engines. These are just possible tutors. You don't have to play these ones, but these are the ones that I found that could possibly go into the deck, like Rhystic Tutor. Unless any player pays 2, search your library for a card, put it in your hand, and shuffle. This is a very bad tutor. If all your opponents are tapped out, or it's really early in the game, so they're trying to get their stuff out, this is fine. But if anyone leaves mana up, this is pretty bad. But, you know, it's a tutor. It's fine. Coveted Prize. Its spell costs 1 less for each creature in your party. It incidentally kind of becomes cheaper. But you can search your library for a card, put in your hand, and shuffle. It's a little high on mana curve, but honestly, at this point, we don't care if our opponents are ahead of us. We care if we get the infinite combo off. That's all we care about. Gamble is the exactly single red tutor that we can use, which shuffles a card from our library into our hand and then discards a card at random. I mean, that's really good. Honestly, we could discard that card. However, if you're really that worried about it, play artifact retrieval effects, like stuff that gets stuff from the graveyard, like Phyrexian Reclamation and stuff like that. We then are playing Brain Spoil, which can function as a decent, like pretty bad removal spell, but also transmutate 1 and 2 black, discard this card, search your library for a card with the same converted mana cost as this card, reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle your library, play only as a sorcery. So you can only play it on your turn on an open game state. However, 1, 2 black, search anything with a 5 mana cost. So yeah, we're definitely playing that. We then have, I should mention, this searches out Gilded Lotus and Karn exactly, but still decent. Wishclaw Talisman enters the battlefield with 3 wish counters on it. Pay 1, tap it, search your library for a card, and then give this to your opponent. This is actually really good in Commander specifically because of politicking. If you don't know what that is, you basically tell a player, hey, I will give you this thing, or I won't do this thing to you if you do this for me. So for example, you could tell a player, hey, let me search with Wishclaw Talisman, and I'll give it to you, but you don't stop what I'm doing. I think that's a really good deal because they get any card they want and they don't stop what you're doing. So next up is of course Cruel Tutor, which costs 2 and a black. Search your library for any card and then lose 2 life. Yeah, this is just betteristic tutor, but also since you can only have 1 of each card, sometimes you play a worse version of a certain card. Also, this is really expensive, but play what you can get. Demonic Tutor, it's the original tutor. Well, not the original, but the most popular tutor. 1 of black, get any card. That's simple. We also have Vampiric Tutor. Sorry about the quality. I couldn't find a good quality PNG for this one. You just search your library for a card, put it on top of your library, lose 2 life. It's only 1 black, though, so it's really good on mana. And then have Imperial Seal for 1 black as well. Search your library for your card, put that card on top of it, you lose 2 life. It's just Vampiric Tutor. It's just another Vampiric Tutor. It's great. Grim Tutor, 1 and 2 black. Search your library for your card, put it into your hand, you lose 3 life. It's just good. We then have Diabolic Tutor. Search your library for your card, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library for 2 and 2 black. Pretty good. It's just better Coveted Prize. But also, once again, it can only have 1 of each card, so fuck it. Play another bad tutor. Also Profane Tutor, which is a suspend card. If you don't know what a suspend card is, rather than cast it, you pay 1 and a black in this case, and then you exile it with an amount of time counters equal to its suspend amount. In this case, you put 2 time counters. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you remove 1 of those time counters. When the last one is removed, cast it without paying any cost. In this case, it's a tutor. It's just search your library for a card, put it in your hand. Pretty good. We then have Vagaroth Blood Sky Sire, 2 and 1 black. A bit of a weird one. I actually played this guy as a commander in a pretty cheap $30 brew I made. It's really funny. But I might get into that in another video. Boast. 1 in a black. Target player searches their library for a card, then shuffles the library, put that card on top. So, while this is a bit slower because it requires you to draw the card and you can get interrupted and all that, it's a repeatable tutor. All these other cards are sorceries, so you play them and they go away. This is repeatable over and over and over again. And even though it's creature and can be removed, that's still valuable in a deck that literally only has like 2 infinite combos that it needs to fall back on it. And if those goes away, we're so fucked. Alright, this is kind of our tutor collection. You probably could find more if you go searching, but this is the main ones I could find that we definitely should be playing. These ones kind of suck though, I will admit. Brain Spoil, Grim Tutor, and Diabolic Tutor. Only because, well, why? The 2 black mana. Flashback. The reason this is bad, as I pointed out before, it fucks with our synergy because we are playing a multicolored deck. So the 2 black symbols, it's not a huge problem. Like, if it had 3 black symbols on this mana cost, it'd become like, okay, no, this is terrible. There's no way we're getting this off consistently. But, honestly, it's not a big problem. Even this isn't really big a problem. I kind of made a big deal out of it. Now, Artifact Tutors. Just stuff that gets artifact from a deck. There are substantially less of these that we can use. Moon Silver Key is the first one. It's always going to be good. Sacrifice it, search your library for an artifact card with a mana ability or basic land card, put it in your hand and shuffle. This gets us exactly Basalt Monolith, Karn Silver Golem, or the Construct guy. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. We also have Vexing Puzzle Box, which is ramp. Next up is Vexing Puzzle Box, which is ramp, but it also rolls a d20, and then whenever you roll a d20, you put charge counters equal to the result on it, and you can remove 100 of those charge counters, get any artifact card, put it on the battlefield, and shuffle. Takes a while, but god damn, that's useful. We also just play Skyship Weatherlight, which isn't my favorite, but it's not bad at all. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for any number of artifact and or creatures, and remove them from the game. And then, you could pay 4 and tap it, choose a card at random that was removed from the game with it, put that card in your hand. Realistically, you're just exiling one single artifact you need with this, and then immediately tapping it, getting it, and then never using this again. It's good, it's not great, but those are the only artifact tutors we can use that I could find. It's hard out here in the streets. But now, let's add our last bit of spice. We of course need card draw, things like Faithless Looting and Night's Whisper, to get to our combo pieces even faster, to get to our tutors faster, to get to our deck faster. We also want to play ramp, because our commander is 5 color, and one of our best combos requires a 3, 4, and 5 cost card. So stuff like Vesper Ghoul, which is kind of weird, but actually really helpful, because it can tap for red or black in this deck. Exuberant Firestoker, which does allow us to deal damage eventually to each of our opponents, so it taps for 1. And Commander Sphere is pretty good. 3 mana ramp and 2 mana ramp is preferable, but 4 mana ramp like Thran's Dynamo isn't bad at all if you want to play that. Of course, there's also the Treasure Vault Searcher, which we can search it out due to the fact that it is actually also a mana ability. I forgot to put it on Moon Silver Key, but you get the idea. It pays mana for an ability, so therefore it's a mana ability. And also, we can just get it through any of our other artifact searchers. But Exhibition Map isn't bad at all, because you sacrifice it by paying 2 and tapping it, and you search your library for any land card, put it to your hand, and shuffle. Really, really good. But, you know what? Good luck brewing and have fun. This deck was honestly a joy to make, and I don't know if you know this, but I absolutely love building commanders unorthodox ways. If you did enjoy this video, please like, subscribe, all that. Check out the other videos I have on this channel on Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh! I might be putting up Hearthstone content eventually. Really depends on how I'm feeling about the game, because right now it's a little boring and there's really only one deck I like to play, which is the No Minions Yogg deck. If you'd like to see that, check out my streams. I actually talk about it quite a bit now, and I hope to see y'all later. Goodbye.
I don't get what I want, I get what I need. Every single day I'm heading off to my dream, and I get everything that I damn well please. I don't give a damn if you all listening to me, cause I run it. I'm the only one that really want it. I'm the only one that's really on it. I'm just being honest. I'm just doing everything I promise, cause I want it bad enough that I'ma make it as an artist.